that. Did the Bengals make a mistake playing him last night?
Yeah, I think they made a mistake. And even though they got the result that they're looking for, it doesn't make it the right decision because your quarterback can't put himself out of harm's way. And beyond that, the offense is drastically different than that of the offense that they had that took them to back-to-back conference championship games and that led to a Super Bowl appearance a couple of years ago. The Cincinnati Bengals have been a big play outfit under Joe Burrow. That's what's allowed them to have success. The last couple of years in football, you're talking about a team that's top 5 when it comes to explosive plays, and quite frankly, they have the most completions when it comes to 20-plus yards or more. They have the most completions when it comes to 50-plus yards or more. This is a team under Joe Burrow in the last 2 seasons that has had the most passing touchdowns where the ball has traveled 15 yards or more in the air. This season, Joe Burrow on such throws is 4 of 18. Well, really 2 of 18 targeting his own receivers. He's got 2 other completions to other guys on other defenses, including last night. It's clear that Joe Burrow can't push the ball down the field. He's not the same quarterback when he's out there. And once defenses adjust because they know he can't push the ball down the field, you're probably talking about a different result on the field. And let's be clear, the margin for error is a lot smaller for the Cincinnati Bengals when Joe Burrow is out there playing the way that he is right now. I don't like it when franchises put players in positions where they can't protect themselves. And right now it's clear by watching the Cincinnati Bengals play, that's where Joe Burrow is.
Chris Canty, I don't know if the problem is with your hoodie or the problem is you woke up too damn early. Something wrong with you. Something wrong with you this morning. Something wrong with you, bro. Let me tell you something right now. They absolutely made the right decision playing Joe Burrow. You 0-2. An 0-3 record is on the line. No team in the Super Bowl. You ain't go to the Super Bowl because you start off 0-3. That's number one. Number two, what was their options? Their backup quarterback is some dude named Jake Browning, who's thrown 1 career NFL pass. You can't put this team in an 0-2 hole in that kind of situation. You got to take your chances. You got to roll the dice and take your chances. Burrow didn't show up into practice until Thursday. It was on a limited basis. We're looking at him right now. I'm just looking at some of these numbers right here, Shannon. One area he's remained strong in this year, third down passing, 25 of 39, that's 64%. 2 TDs, no interceptions on third downs. Obviously, he connected with Chase last night, 441 yards, 12 of 15 passing. The bad with Burrow. 33 quarterbacks with at least 50 pass attempts this season. Burrow ranks 31st in completion percentage at 55.4, 32nd in yards per attempt at 4.7. Even Zach Wilson is better, for crying out loud. Now, you know, even Zach Wilson has been better. You got to have that brother on the field. Now, I know your calf is hurting. Right. But, damn it, we got to figure it out. I don't give a damn what we got to do. Max protection. You understand? Give a massage after every series. I don't give a damn what you got to do. You had to have Joe Burrow out there last night, Shannon.
He definitely needed to be out there. Chris, I don't have a problem with them playing him. I have a problem with how they played him. Okay. Because you threw the ball 31 times in the first half. You threw the ball 49 times overall. You got Joe Mixon. Run the football. Take some of that pressure because you're asking him to drop back, drive off that calf that's injured. And I agree, you run a huge risk of re-injuring that calf. But like he said the risk was worth it. The risk on the field didn't outweigh the risk in the standing. He knows the likelihood of them getting to where they want to be after starting 0-3 greatly diminishes their chances of actually ultimately reaching their goal. So for me, I didn't have a problem with them playing him. I had a problem with how they used him while playing him. You needed to run Joe Mixon a little bit more and not ask Joe Burrow to drop back and throw the ball 49 times in this game.
Go ahead,
Shannon,
Chris.
I feel you on that. But Stephen A., I got to push back on the 0-3 start situation. I know that's an uphill climb. There have only been, one team since 2002, which division realignment,
Texans.
where your team has started out 0-3 and that's made the playoffs. I think that's the 2018 Houston Texans. But the reality is this. In the modern NFL, teams that start out the season 0-2 with division losses don't make the playoffs. We've had 6 teams coming into the season that haven't done it. They haven't made the playoffs. So, again, it's a slim margin when it comes to this team's upside and their potential to get to where they want to go. Now, as far as overall where this team is in the standings, if you look at the schedule, they got a stretch of games. They had the Rams last night. They got the Titans. They got the Cardinals, and they got the Seahawks. I'm sorry, if your backup quarterback can't be a part of you getting a split in those 4 games that they're just in the middle of going through, then I don't know what the upside for this team was anyway coming into this season. Now, the saving grace last night for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Chris. Hold on, Chris. Chris, 3 of the last 4 years, the Bengals started out 0-2. They were in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. They were in the AFC Championship game last year. I understand what conventional wisdom pertains to as it pertains to an 0-2 start, but it hasn't been applicable to them. That's number one. Number two, listen, Joe Burrow is Joe Burrow. Don't tell me that because, oh my goodness, you can't depend on a backup with one career start. That tells me a lot about your team. What it tells me is that that's the franchise. We're riding with this brother right here. We got to hope and pray beyond prayer that nothing happens to him. But as long as we got him, we good. AFC Championship game and the Super Bowl appearance over the last 2 years, Shannon Sharpe, last time I checked.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn good.
That's pretty good. I think the thing is what Joe Burrow does is that he gives this team confidence. They didn't win that game because of Joe Burrow last night. They won that game because their defense and Matthew Stafford was the Bengals' best player because he kept turning the football over and they kept kicking field goals instead of getting touchdowns in the red zone. So what he does is that I don't believe Canty, and I watched this game from top to bottom because my good friend Ocho Cinco went into the Ring of Honor, is that Joe Burrow wasn't the reason they won this game. Their defense took the ball away twice from Matthew Stafford, and they sacked him 6 times, and they pressured him nonstop. That was the main reason. Joe did make a few throws. He got the ball to his playmakers, Jamar Chase, and he did the rest. But I felt they should have run the football a lot more than what they did and take some of the pressure not only off of Joe Burrow, but that calf.
Yeah, the formula for the Cincinnati Bengals to win games with the compromised Joe Burrow is going to be a lot different than what we've seen. And they didn't lean into what their identity should be when you have a compromised quarterback or when Joe and the Bengals can't be a big play outfit. But my point is this, and I know that this is something that we won't be able to find out until the season actually plays itself out, but putting a player that you just gave the second largest guarantee in NFL history to at that type of risk, where you got to operate exclusively out of the shotgun. Nobody wants to see this dude go out like we saw Aaron Rodgers in week 1. Nobody's wishing that on him. We've seen calf injuries with high-profile athletes turn into things that are worse. You think about what happened to A-Rod on Monday Night Football. You think about what happened to Kevin Durant in the 2019 NBA Finals. You think about those things, and then you think about Joe Burrow having to drive off of that right foot in order to throw the football. It ain't a good situation to put it in. You won the game, and so that's the ultimate deodorant. I get it.
All right, hold on.
But let's not lose sight of the long term with this thing, because Joe Burrow told you himself the window for this team to win a championship is his entire career. It ain't just the 2023 season.
Chris, you talking to a veteran here on television, my brother. I see what your strategy is. Let me talk long enough so nobody can get a chance to respond to that stuff. That ain't going to work with me right now, but we going to leave it alone because we got to go to another subject. And I'm going to say this. As an aside, I'm glad you brought up Ocho Cinco. A lot of people remember his last days in New England. Forget all that.
Right.
For 10 years in Cincinnati, that brother was that dude, especially 8 of those 10 years. He deserved to be in that Ring of Honor. I'm happy for Ocho Cinco.
All right, Shannon, talk to me. What statement did the Eagles send with that win?
Well, I think the thing is anytime that you can go on the road and win a game by 2 touchdowns, and when you don't play your best football, Jalen Hurts turned the ball over twice, and he's not playing. I've seen Jalen Hurts go to another level. I just haven't seen it this year. I'm just waiting, and I know it's just a matter of time. And as you heard Fletcher Cox say, the defense has been outstanding. Fletcher Cox and Jalen Carter, those guys are putting relentless pressure on the quarterback, forcing turnovers. They did a demolition job on Baker Mayfield last night, and that Tampa offense held him to 174 yards. And check this out. They got the ball with 9 minutes and 22 seconds left in the ball game, and the Buccaneers couldn't get it back. They couldn't get it back because the one thing the Eagles can always do, even if Jalen Hurts is not playing his best football, throwing the ball, they can run the football. That big, massive offensive line, they push people. And you have a quarterback that not only can throw, but he is a complete quarterback because he has dynamic legs. What the Eagles showed me, this is what they should have done, but you heard them say that Jalen Hurts was not feeling his best. But you don't make excuses. Nobody cares because all I saw was one where Hurts on the back, and there's a level of expectation that I expect to see him play at when he's on the field. I'm glad he didn't use the I was sick, I was under the weather as an excuse. But I didn't gain anything. I still think they're the third best team in this.
Third?
Second best. Second best.
There you go.
Second best team in the NFC. I was thinking big picture. The second best team in the conference, and they went out there and they showed it against an inferior team, and that's what you're supposed to do.
That's what I walked away with, Canty, Shannon. I walked away with them thinking that, they're still a team that I thought they were. The top team in the NFC. You obviously look at San Francisco, 1 and 2, pick your poison. But I look at the Eagles' ability to run the football, and I say to myself, excuse me, they're not only the second their second-ranked running attack, okay? But they're second against the run and number one with the run on offense. So I give them a lot of credit for that, and we know what Jalen Hurts brings to the table. I am a bit concerned. 4 turnovers already in the first 3 games. He only had 8 all of last year in the 15 games that he played. I'm wondering about that, so he's got to get his bearings under him. You got a new offensive coordinator. Obviously, we get all of that. But in the end, you got a guy like A.J. Brown. You got Devontae Smith. You got Dallas Goedert. We don't want to hear about problems in the passing game. That's the last thing we expect to hear or see from the Philadelphia Eagles. So there is a slight concern, but nothing that's going to let me allow them to dissipate to a lower than a top 2 team in the NFC.
They're not falling behind the Cowboys?
Hell no. That is not the case, because Jalen Hurts is better than Dak Prescott. And moments are what it's all about. It's usually going to be in the hands of the quarterback. And if I have to pick between Hurts or Dak, I'm picking Hurts.
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles last night told you that they're the best team in the NFC East. It's San Francisco, Philadelphia, draw a line, and then everybody else in the NFC. And the reason why I think that the Eagles are one of the top 2 teams is because of what you pointed out, Shannon. It's because of the physicality that they have on both sides of the ball. You talked about them being second in rushing. They've got 557 rushing yards. 408 of those yards are before first contact. Think about that.
Wow.
That's before first contact.
That's
so that offensive line is moving people off the ball.
That's right.
And then I can't speak enough about how good that defensive front is. They're tops in pressure percentage in the National Football League. They get after it, and that's led to a lot of takeaways. So even though they're turning the ball over more on offense, it's getting masked by that defense.